The Enchanted Violin. In a small village called Willowbrook, nestled at the edge of a vast forest, lived a young girl named Elena. She had a gift for music that enchanted anyone who heard her play. Her father, a humble carpenter, had crafted her a beautiful violin when she was a child, and from the moment she held it, Elena had a deep connection with the instrument. Her music was more than just sound, it was magic. Elena's mother had passed away when she was very young, leaving her and her father to take care of each other. Her father, Marcus, often spoke of her mother's love for music, and Elena felt that every time she played the violin, her mother's spirit was with her. Her melodies would drift through the village, bringing peace and happiness to all who listened. One evening, as the sun set behind the forest, casting long shadows over Willowbrook, Elena played a particularly beautiful tune by the river bank. Suddenly, she noticed a stranger standing at the edge of the trees, listening intently. He was a tall man with a long, flowing cloak and eyes that sparkled like stars. "Who are you?" Elena asked, her curiosity piqued. The man stepped forward, a gentle smile on his face. "I am Alaric, a wanderer and a lover of music. Your playing is extraordinary, young Elena. It is as if the forest itself listens to your songs." Elena blushed at the compliment. "Thank you, Alaric. Music has always been a part of me." Alaric nodded, looking thoughtful. "I have heard tales of an enchanted violin hidden deep within the Heartwood forest. It is said that whoever plays this violin will have the power to heal any wound and bring peace to troubled hearts. I believe you are destined to find it." Elena's heart skipped a beat. The idea of an enchanted violin fascinated her. "But the Heartwood forest is vast and dangerous. How would I find it?" Alaric reached into his cloak and pulled out an old, tattered map. "This map has been passed down through generations. It shows the way to the Heartwood tree, where the violin is said to be hidden. Will you accept this quest?" Elena hesitated for a moment, but her desire to discover the enchanted violin and help her village gave her the courage she needed. "I will go," she said, determination in her voice. The next morning, Elena set out on her journey. She packed some provisions, took her violin, and bid farewell to her father, who gave her a tight hug and whispered, "Be careful, my dear. Your mother would be so proud of you." With the map in hand, Elena ventured into the Heartwood forest. The trees were tall and ancient, their leaves whispering secrets as the wind blew through them. The forest was beautiful but filled with unknown dangers. Elena played her violin as she walked, the music guiding her steps and giving her courage. After several days of travel, Elena reached a clearing where a grand oak tree stood, its branches stretching towards the sky. As she approached, she felt a strange pull, as if the tree itself was calling to her. At the base of the tree, partially covered by leaves and moss, lay a hidden entrance. Elena took a deep breath and stepped inside. The passageway led her to a cavern bathed in a soft, ethereal light. In the center of the cavern stood a pedestal, and upon it rested the most exquisite violin she had ever seen. Its body was crafted from gleaming, golden wood, and its strings seemed to shimmer with their own light. Elena approached the violin, her heart pounding with excitement. As she touched it, she felt a surge of energy flow through her. She lifted the violin and played a single note. The sound was pure and magical, resonating through the cavern and out into the forest. Suddenly, the ground trembled, and a deep voice echoed through the cavern. "Who dares to awaken the heartwood violin?" Elena looked around in alarm but saw no one. "It is I, Elena of Willowbrook. I seek the power of the enchanted violin to help my village and heal those in need." A figure materialized from the shadows, a spirit with eyes like the forest and a presence that felt ancient and powerful. "I am the guardian of the heartwood violin," the spirit said. "Only one with a pure heart and a true love for music can wield its power. Play for me, and I shall judge your worthiness." Elena nodded and began to play. She poured her heart into the music, thinking of her mother, her father, and the villagers of Willowbrook. Her fingers danced over the strings, creating a melody that spoke of love, hope, and healing. As the final note faded, the spirit smiled. "You are indeed worthy, Elena. The violin's power is now yours. Use it wisely, and it will bring great joy and healing to your world." Elena thanked the guardian and made her way back to Willowbrook, her heart full of hope and excitement. When she arrived, the villagers gathered around, eager to hear her play the enchanted violin. As the first notes filled the air, a sense of peace and warmth spread through the village. Wounds healed, sorrow lifted, and hearts were mended. Elena became known as the guardian of the heartwood violin, her music bringing light and healing to all who heard it. She traveled far and wide, sharing her gift and spreading the magic of the enchanted violin. And though she faced many challenges, she always remembered the spirit's words and used her power with wisdom and compassion. Elena's fame as a healer and musician spread across the lands. Kings and queens invited her to their courts, and she visited many kingdoms, each with its own unique problems and stories. Wherever she went, Elena used the power of the heartwood violin to bring harmony and joy. One day, while traveling through a desolate land plagued by drought, Elena encountered a group of weary travelers. Their leader, a man named Gideon, approached her. "We have heard of your magical violin. Can you help our land? The rivers have dried up, and our crops are failing. Our people are desperate." Elena nodded, her heart aching for the suffering she saw. "I will do everything I can," she promised. Gideon led her to the heart of the land, where a once mighty riverbed lay dry and cracked. Elena stood at the edge, closed her eyes, and began to play. The music flowed from her violin, rising into the air like a prayer. The melody was one of renewal and hope, calling upon the ancient magic of the heartwood forest. As she played, dark clouds gathered in the sky. Thunder rumbled, and a gentle rain began to fall. The villagers watched in awe as the riverbed slowly filled with water. The land drank deeply, and the crops began to revive. By the time Elena finished her song, the land was alive again, vibrant and green. Gideon and his people thanked Elena profusely. "You have saved us," he said, tears of gratitude in his eyes. "How can we ever repay you?" Elena shook her head. "There is no need for repayment. Helping others is reward enough." As she continued her journey, Elena faced many such trials. In a kingdom torn apart by war, she played a song of peace that ended the conflict and brought the warring factions together. In a village stricken by illness, her music healed the sick and restored health. Each time, Elena's heart grew stronger, and her bond with the heartwood violin deepened. Despite her many successes, not everyone welcomed Elena and her magic. In the city of Moravia, a powerful sorcerer named Malachai grew jealous of her fame and the love people had for her. He saw the heartwood violin as a threat to his own dark magic and decided to take it for himself. Malachai summoned Elena to his grand castle under the guise of seeking her help. When she arrived, he greeted her with false warmth. "Elena, I have heard of your incredible gift. I must admit, I am in awe of your power. Will you play for me?" Elena, ever trusting, agreed. As she played, Malachai secretly wove a dark spell to bind her and steal the violin. But the magic of the heartwood violin sensed the sorcerer's malice. The music turned discordant, and Elena felt a sharp pain in her chest. She stopped playing, realizing something was terribly wrong. "What are you doing?" she demanded, stepping back. Malachai's face twisted in anger. "You have no idea the power you possess. It belongs to me." He raised his hands, and dark energy crackled around him. Elena, holding her violin tightly, began to play a melody of protection. The magical notes formed a barrier around her, repelling Malachai's dark magic. The sorcerer screamed in frustration, unable to break through the shield. "I will not let you take this power," Elena said firmly. "It is meant to heal and bring joy, not to be used for selfish gain." Malachai, seeing that he was defeated, retreated into the shadows of his castle, vowing revenge. Elena left Moravia, her heart heavy but her resolve stronger than ever. She knew that her journey would not always be met with kindness, but she was determined to continue her mission. Years passed, and Elena's hair began to turn silver. She decided it was time to return to Willowbrook, the village where her journey began. As she approached her childhood home, memories flooded back. She remembered her father's loving guidance and the first time she had held the violin. The villagers welcomed her with open arms, their faces filled with joy and admiration. Marcus, now an old man, beamed with pride. "Welcome home, Elena," he said, embracing her tightly. Elena spent her days in Willowbrook, playing her violin for the villagers and teaching the children about music and the magic of the heartwood violin. The village thrived, its people united by the bonds of love and music. One evening, as the sun set and the stars began to twinkle, Elena felt a familiar presence. The spirit of the heartwood violin appeared before her, its eyes filled with warmth. "You have done well, Elena. Your journey has brought healing and joy to many. Now, it is time for you to rest." Elena nodded, her heart at peace. She played one final song, a melody of farewell and gratitude. As the last note faded, Elena felt herself surrounded by a gentle light. The spirit of the violin embraced her, and she felt a deep sense of fulfillment. Her body, now frail, rested beneath the ancient oak tree where she had found the enchanted violin. The villagers built a monument in her honor, and the story of Elena and the heartwood violin became a legend that inspired generations to come. And so, the tale of Elena and the heartwood violin lived on, a testament to the power of music, love, and the magic that lies within a pure heart. The enchanted violin, now resting in its rightful place, continued to bring peace and joy to all who believed in its magic.